Hello, comrades. We have a very special treat for everyone today. We're going to have a candid debate between me and Comrade Neville.
Greetings, Comrade Norm, and greetings to all the comrades at home. Before we begin today, let's just please clear up our pronouns first.
Oh, that's a great idea. I almost forgot. My pronouns are the thum, nust, and ni.
These myself.
Mhm. And I'm sure you're all on the edge of your seats wondering what we're going to be debating about. I mean, unless you read the YouTube title. Uh, we're going to be debating about which society is more oppressive, the US or the UK.
No, that's going to be easy.
Okay, well, if you're so confident about it, then how about you start?
Okay, let's get this started the way many people in the UK do, which is with a cup of tea.
A cup of tea?
You might say, what's so wrong about a cup of tea? But it is a symbol of the principal sin, which is cultural appropriation, which is the worst sin of them all. The British stole the tea from the Chinese. In return, what did we give them? Well, the opium crisis. So even as simple as like a cup of tea to start the day is soaked in the blood of our horrible colonial past. And along with 2 sugars and milk.
Oh, that's a really good point. But you got to understand that in the US, we basically appropriated everything from the Native Americans.
Well, we were the ones who sent them there in the first place to ravage the Native Americans. It was us.
Oh, shoot.
It's also worth noting as well that there is a subconscious level of homophobia in the UK. Often, to describe cigarettes, we use a horrible, the F term. You can probably guess what that is. Despite the fact that, well, basically every cigarette is therefore a small gay man, going by that definition. So essentially, we are burning small gay men without care.
That's awful.
I'd say that the worst issue of all is the systemic whiteness in the UK. Persons of colour in Parliament right now are in single digits, which is despicable. And POCs are even segregated into all sorts of different subsections. So you've got Muslim neighbourhoods, Indian neighbourhoods, and so on. And the worst part is, a lot of people who live in the villages have never even seen a POC in real life. But, we've never even had our very own Obama figure like you guys have.
Yeah, I mean, there is that problem in the US, but you are right. At least we had Obama.
We don't even want it to get better. Our horrible, bigoted, racist populace voted twice for Brexit. Twice. Which furthers us away from the central hub of Europe. And by doing so, our chances of erasing our sexist, racist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, white past is gone. We can't remove that anymore.
Stay strong, comrade. Of course. After the abolishment of slavery, the system that took its place was a pseudo-slavery called sharecropping. You didn't know about it. The capitalism is so pervasive in America that many jobs are analogous to sharecropping. This is propagated by our lack of a socialized healthcare system. Here, a person can get in a debt so large that they become a pseudo-slave to it for the rest of their life.
Wow, that's awful. At least we have the NHS here.
It gets worse, Neville. This issue unfairly affects POCs and JLBGQ2 plus people because they are more likely to be denied higher paying positions that can free them from the bonds of poverty. This puts people in a lot of tough situations. And to make matters worse, we don't have any control over our guns. Hell, they control us through fear. Guns are the greatest oppressive force in the United States of America.
Do go on.
With the British government reform, it's possible because the power is held by the government. But in America, reform is slow because people have guns. And when we try to make progress and become a more inclusive place, we get the 20 steps back by some lone wolf madman with an automatic weapon. We are a country oppressed by our own minds as well. Across the country, many Americans have been stricken with PTSD from seeing such violent events on TV in their own country. Agoraphobia, or the fear of crowds, is at an all-time high in this country. People are so oppressed by the fear of their fellow citizens that they're stuck in their houses. And let's not forget that there is government-mandated gun violence by the police.
Wow, I just can't even imagine it.
And let's also not forget about our oppression trump card, pun intended. We have a literal fascist for President Drumpf, who is finding new ways to oppress people every single day.
Don't worry, comrade. We also have a joke in leadership. We've got Bojo the clown, who's essentially our version of Drumpf.
I mean, fair enough. I never really thought about it that way. Honestly, all things considered, I feel like things are pretty equally bad in both countries.
Honestly, yeah, it feels like oppression is this horrible issue that exists everywhere. Like it wriggles around everywhere in the Western world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that just leaves a question of like, I don't know, what can we do about it?
That's a difficult question, Norm. But honestly, it's surprisingly more simple than you expect. The key is to resist.
Resist? Tell me more.
Well, Norm, in these trying times, oppression is rampant. It's everywhere. So we have to take a stand and resist whenever we can in order to destroy it.
What are some of the ways that our viewers at home can resist?
Oh, I'm very glad you asked that, Norm. Well, for one, people often call out others who are deemed as problematic. Often people don't understand how subconsciously hateful they can actually be, which is, of course, a problem. You can also support candidates with the correct and journalist-approved opinions,
Mm-hmm.
and you can also be financially active in terms of supporting these candidates and campaigning for them. So you see this at the Biden campaign, who I particularly support, and the Bernie campaign, even the Warren campaign. You can also use a platform like here on YouTube to amplify the voices of those who need to hear our message. So you can like retweet any journalistic content you can find to help out in the fight. So you can do that on here on YouTube. Twitter is a great place for activism and smashing the fash. And finally, as well, the biggest one you can ever do is join your local Antifa chapter. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to do. That's the best way to destroy and defeat fascism before it spreads even further.
Wow. Thank you for freeing me from the bonds of ignorance and teaching me how to free others. I would like to personally thank Neville for coming on here and doing this candid debate. I know that these things can sometimes get pretty heated, but I'm happy that we could keep things somewhat civil here. Of course, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments some maybe subtle oppressions that we might have missed from both countries. I know that there is a lot, so we definitely had to leave some stuff out for time purposes.
Honestly, thank you very much, comrade. I had a very great time. We certainly need to do this again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly we must. Well, good night, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Goodbye.